back to Only Football as we begin our first of many Interview 32 interviews with NFL fans. Of course, there's my partner in narcotics crime, Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
What's going on? Good to be here.
And you may have seen him in the comments in a lot of our live streams. We got Packers fan, Tyler. It is Kyle's brother, Tyler. Our first interview, and of course, as a Bears fan, I had to have the Packers fan first. So I mean, that's kind of how it goes, right?
I respect it, to be honest, man. And Tyler, thanks for being here for one, because
man.
You know how big brothers are. He could have just given me a nuggie and said no. And
I did say no first.
Yeah. That is facts. We were in a text thread, yeah.
Yeah. But I was telling Rick, I was like, normally what we would like to do is probably break down how you became a Packer fan. But this is such a kind of different offseason as normal because this is the first time, and let's do the math here, 36 years maybe, that the Green Bay Packers don't have a surefire guy under center, either named Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. So we have to go right into that. And as a Packer fan, get your kind of analysis on, do you think the Packers handled this the right way? And do you think Jordan Love has the potential to become what Aaron Rodgers became under Brett Favre?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I know how lucky I've been as a Packer fan.
Oh, yeah.
I've legitimately had two quarterbacks my entire life. And I'm like a spoiled football fan. And I have since, like, knowing that this was the tail end of Aaron Rodgers' career, I've kind of like accepted this and have kind of just been like okay with whatever happens. Like as soon as I found out about this darkness retreat, I was like, dude is going through some shit, and it's probably not going to be good for the Packers.
So that was the thing that was kind of going through my head too, and this is one of the things Kyle and I have talked about, where I have to give him credit because Aaron Rodgers was not like this until they selected Jordan Love in the first round. Like he was never, in the last 2-3 years before Jordan Love was in the Packers organization, he wasn't like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to play. I don't know if I want to play in the Packers. I don't know if I want to do this, do that. It wasn't until they drafted Jordan Love where he was kind of like, okay, you guys are obviously trying to move on, not talking to me directly about this, and you're not getting me any weapons as far as receivers and stuff in the first round. So why would I think that I am in a place of stability here when clearly you guys are trying to move on and not talk to me about it? So is that the feeling, I guess, in as a Green Bay Packers fan, that like Aaron has a point in what he's doing and stuff?
I mean, yeah, there's a part where you look at it as a football fan, and then you have to look at it as a business. And me, I'm a business owner. I'm in school for business management, and I look at the business and I look at what they're doing, like the front office of the Packers. And if you have a quarterback that's, even though, like, what was that, 2 or 3 years ago, he was still on the tail end of his career.
Yep.
I looked at it as if like, all right, well, you're questionable, then we're going to try to save our asses. We're going to try to get the best quarterback out right now. Now, again, I'm not going to treat Jordan Love like I would treat Aaron Rodgers. He was like, you have the guy behind someone for multiple years learning. Like, this is an anomaly that just happened from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if Jordan Love is going to be that guy. We saw him a little bit this year, this past year, but it's not enough to be like, all right, he's going to replace Aaron Rodgers. Like, we're going to be fine. To me, it's more as a fan, what I would love to change is us attacking free agents, us, listening to your superstar Hall of Fame, should probably get his jersey retired player. Like New England would have listened to Tom Brady. That's what sucks. That, like, how old school we are. There's like give and take in that old school mentality of football, right? There's like cool, hard nose to the grindstone, good defenses usually, run the ball down their throat kind of football. But then you still have to have that flashy receiver. You have to. The last time we won, we had Jordy Nelson. We had Greg Jennings. We had, I believe, Driver was still on that Super Bowl team. So we had three major guys versus this year, Christian Watson didn't wake up till week 9. So those are the things that I wish, like I said, as a fan, I kind of lean this way. It was like, I hope he's the next Hall of Fame quarterback that the Packers produce, but highly unlikely. So we'll see.
Yeah, with that being said, when you had Brett Favre still playing for the Packers and still, executing, being a starter at a very high level and still going 2-3 years later with the Jets and the Vikings, with Aaron Rodgers in the waiting there, did you guys kind of have an idea, I guess, as Packers Nation really, or just you specifically, did you think like Aaron Rodgers is going to be this next guy, or were you also kind of like, I hope so, like you are with Jordan Love?
No, I mean, I was young as hell. I'm 30 years old, consciously watching football and like retaining everything and knowing, the game very well didn't happen to me. I honestly really fell in love with the game because of that guy that's right under you right now. I remember Kyle, he played Pop Warner in 6th grade. I was more of a basketball, baseball kid. And I saw Kyle play one season, and we played like flag growing up, but like not much. And, but he's the one that really got me into it. So like, I don't really, remember flipping on a TV and watching Brett Favre,
Oh, wow.
But I do remember like it didn't take long for us to know that like he's got wheels, which is weird for a white dude. He can run around. He's athletic and he can sling the rock. And then 18 years later, I just throw this outfit on and I go to my local Irish pub and just go watch football every Sunday.
The guy that's actually a Packer fan, Mike, right? Isn't Mike a Packer fan?
Mike's Mike. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Anywhere you go, you can find Packer fans. There is something I didn't want to run past though really quick if we can. It was about Aaron Rodgers, and when we're talking about has he earned the right, I don't know if you guys tuned into the Pat McAfee show last week. I believe usually it's Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, but I think it happened on a Wednesday. Wednesday. And he was saying, look, all I've ever asked for, whether it was this offseason or even the last offseason when there were rumors about Denver was a location and, it's the same game that's being played this year. He said, all I ever asked for was transparency. So when they sat me down and said, hey, like our intention is to bring you back. You take as much time as you need. We'll be here when you get back. Rodgers goes into the dark, which, by the way, I don't think the darkness retreat, the name is a little misleading. I don't think it's like if you're in a dark place, you go there. I think
there was candles.
No, he literally went to a dark place.
No, but
no, he went to the darkest place possible and paid to do it. Instead of just like going into one of his 19 closets he has at his house, he paid someone to torture him for 4 days. That's how much he hates the Packers.
We'll run right past that one. So the thing is when he got signal back on his phone, he said his phone was blown up with people saying that the Packers had changed their mind. And he said, all I wanted was to be sat down and be told, like, hey, we are moving on to the future of our franchise. Thank you for what you've done. And he said that it wasn't just that they didn't have the ability to do this with me, Aaron Rodgers, who he's the longest tenured Packer ever. No one will ever probably earn.
Matt Crosby, maybe?
No. I read it online on the NFL Network thing, so okay. I'm sure they verified it.
They got to be up there.
Yeah, Max. Yeah, definitely way up there. Probably like 15, 16 years. But anyway, so no one will probably earn that conversation in our near future like Aaron Rodgers had earned it. And it wasn't just that. He said, it's the same thing I had to say about guys like Charles Woodson and Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson and Clay Matthews and these guys that were, they gave this franchise everything. And then when it came time to make a business decision, they didn't give the players any dignity in the process.
Yep.
So I personally understand the whole business side. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with the way the Packers handled these types of high caliber profile players and just letting them go and letting them hear from a third party. Bobby Wagner, same thing. He found out he was being released by the Seahawks, not from Pete Carroll, not from the owner, from seeing it online on ESPN. It's like, hey, I'm at that point the longest tenured Seahawk since Russell Wilson. Why are these players? I use that so you don't think it's just the Packers, but this does happen a lot in Green Bay. So why is it, do you think, that the Packers aren't giving, these players the respect that I think that they've earned over their career?
I don't know. Again, it's back to talking about the tradition that is Green Bay. I feel like a lot of those guys, I want to say there's a few teams in the league that are like the community drives them. When I think about those teams, I think about the Steelers, I think about the Eagles, think about Chicago, even though we own them. I think about the Packers. And
all right, thanks for the interview, Tyler. Appreciate it.
All right, later, guys. But so much in Green Bay where you can just see. Like I remember spending time as a kid, like driving by the old stadium all the time, and we never went to a game. We didn't have that kind of money, and we thought it was unheard of to get tickets to those games. And I just think it is just a traditionalistic vision, and it's another thing about the team being owned by the city. Instead of one businessman, one guy who has a lot of money and made that money in a good way. Think about guys like Mark Cuban. Do you know his story about like the Mavericks?
No.
He didn't like the way that it was the Mavericks
Correct.
were being like marketed, and he's like, I could do way better than this. And
he literally was a season ticket holder, just sold his old company. He made like something like 30, 40, tens of millions of dollars. And he's sitting around, he's like, I can own this place. And he was like, 3 months later, he owned it. Yeah. He's like, I could do a better job. And then he talks about how he has like PlayStations in the locker room and ping pong tables, and he has like scents around the stadium that will like elevate a player's mood. Like, we just don't have that. We have probably a table of white dudes that are just like from or like in Wisconsin, like living in Wisconsin. And it's just, like I said, an old school mentality, which is like, it's give and take for me. Like, I love that sometimes when we're like running the ball down your throat and it's Packers football and it's going well, but when it's not, you're looking at it and you're like, dude, not one of our receivers has grills. Like, not one of our receivers has a leg sleeve. I want OBJ. Like, I wanted OBJ so bad in free agency just to say that like we did something controversial. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, like I'm like waiting for us to get like the crazy guy. What's our tight end? Mercedes Lewis?
Tunyon
or Mercedes Lewis?
Mercedes Lewis, dude.
Yeah.
That dude is like, that's like, all right, but he only plays like 3 downs a season. Like
he's a run blocking tight end.
Yeah.
Him and his brother will absolutely kill you. But like, I want more guys like that with like I don't know. We need more of that as an organization.
It's
the owner. Some swag. Yeah, exactly. It's the front office.
You want some of that, like, what is that, University of Miami type of like swag to the team, right?
It needs it. Our organization, and you know it as someone probably watches it very closely. Like, we're too traditional. We're just by the book, straight line organization, and that's not gonna win you it, dude. We on that team. I was like talking to someone about this the other day. I was like, we had AJ Hawk, like Clay Matthews, like that team was just a amazing team that all came together at the right year, and we played an injured Steelers team, and we kind of, it's a combination of like luck and hard work, but we got there. It wasn't like I don't think it was like a dominating like team, like we're here and like everybody's gonna kill you. Just like all the pieces kind of aligned that year. And we need more of that.
So I guess with that being said, is it like, do you think that there should be an owner, someone who kind of like the bill stops there, like he's like yes, no, or she, he, she, whoever, right? Like whoever the owner is like yes, no, we're doing this, we're doing that, versus what you guys are now? Because I mean, to be fair, 2 Super Bowls, right? With Rodgers and Favre, like over the last 2 decades, 20, 30 years, whatever it is. That's something, but like you said, right? Like you aren't bringing you guys aren't doing, and I think Kyle's mentioned it before to me, and you know I've never really realized until he said it, but the Packers don't make splashes in free agency. They don't over this many years, you know, over a long period of time. And they just don't do that. So is that more of the side that you're kind of leaning towards that you want them to do, or is it just maybe like a couple tweaks here and there?
I mean, dude, the biggest thing, like I just feel like we had guys that were like good, you know, like everybody like was stoked on Dobbs and Lazard, Alien Lizard. Like these guys are good. They're role players. Like they're easily like could probably be a number 4 on any team, you know, and they're not like him. They're not that guy. You're not.
Yeah.
Christian Watson, like I said, towards the end of this, you know, towards the middle end of the season, he was looking nasty, you know, and he woke up. I will never forget the first play of the season last year was a streak down the right side. Christian Watson beats the guy by a few yards. Aaron Rodgers drops it in his hand, drops it, you know, and that I think mentally, and it was good by the offensive coordinator, still got him some jet sweeps, still wanted him touching the ball, still wanted him confident, building that confidence. But again, that attests to Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's why you got to kind of be over someone. He kind of made me as a Packers fan over him a little bit because he didn't go to those training camps that were not mandatory. You know, dude, you got a rookie receiver. I know you've been in the league 18 years. I know you don't need those reps. But I played receiver, I played quarterback in Pop Warner, and I know that you eventually build a chemistry. Yeah. And everybody knows that. You build it. And especially when you have a young buck coming in to the gravely geared up speed that is the NFL. He might have been really dope at Clemson or wherever he went. He might have been really good at that D1 school, but it's a different level again, and that jump is massive. So for him just to be like, all right, I'm going to go to Maui and I'm going to do ayahuasca, and like, that's cool, dude, do it, but get it done. And then let's go and act like you want to win a Super Bowl, you know?
Absolutely.
Real quick, you guys mind if I like turn my lights up because the sun is setting here in Miami and the natural lighting does not look so good?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Real quick, sorry.
For sure.
The Miami light in here. Yeah, man. I was gonna say I saw a stat that showed that Aaron Rodgers actually led the NFL in it's like catchable balls percentage, and they also led the NFL in dropped passes. So really? I mean, there was that kind of like relates back to the fact that you know the receiver problem is like they don't have that guy. You think about even the Lions, who are probably the you know in my lifetime the most consistently bad team, the Browns and the Lions. The Lions had Calvin Johnson. The Browns, you know, had OBJ. And when I look at the owner thing, you may still have that same amount of cap number, but a rich owner's ability to manipulate it is, you know, that's everything. I'm gonna make this, you know, guaranteed money in 2025. So really, he's only paying for $2 million this year. You look at DJ Moore. He played for like $1 million last year, traded with the Bears, but this year he has that $25 million number. So that's what the rich owners do. And for a while, we didn't have our owner had dementia, and then he died. And we haven't had an owner. This is our first offseason with a new ownership group in 7 years. And right now we have $235 million spent in free agency. Number 2 is $177 million with the Saints. It just shows you how quick.
You
get Walmart money. All of a sudden, you're pulling, you know, this guy. You're pulling this guy. You know what I mean? And these things were never possible before. So, if Green Bay, it's a huge sacrifice, though. They're the only team that is owned by the people. And is that a sacrifice that you're willing to give up to, you know, be like everybody else and be able to get Odell Beckham Jr.? Or do you keep that rarity and, you know, live and die by it? I mean, it's give and take.
I don't know how that works legally. Like, if that's even an option. You know, I know, like, other guys that have, like, a little piece of turf in their freezer somewhere. Do you think somebody in Green Bay, Wisconsin is going to give up the $300 they spent on that piece of turf and a piece of paper that says you're an owner.
No.
I don't know how the stocks work. I really don't know how that works. I assume
I did. I got it.
You own a piece of turf from the Green Bay?
Yeah, as an owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Wait, you are really an owner of the Green Bay Packers?
Get rid of. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, dude.
Oh.
I was gonna say, how could you and Aaron Rodgers both own the Packers and the Bears?
And the Bears, yeah.
That's what our Uncle Wolf says, that his dad has a piece of grass in his basement freezer. And he's always like, no one's ever going to be able to go down into. He makes it sound like a mad scientist lab type scenario. It's like locked up with a chain. It's like the only running thing down there. And you open it up, and it's just like a piece of grass in there. And he's you're not getting that.
when they tear down Soldier Field, I'm hoping I can at least be there to grab like a random, like, I don't know,
a
nail or a piece of concrete to screw something and just be like, it's locked away in this.
Wait, are they really tearing it down?
Probably. I mean,
I think I heard that a few years ago where they're going to move it a little south or something like that.
Well, yeah. So they got Arlington Park, which is like I forget how many acres, but it's like hundreds of acres worth of like land where I'm hoping they will, build a dome there, build all sorts of like entertainment stuff, restaurants, hotels, parking, all that good stuff there. Mm-hmm. So I'm just assuming that's going to happen, but also like Soldier Field belongs to the Chicago Parks Department, so I don't think they're going to tear it down. They're just going to use it for something else. But
regardless, be an arena or something.
Yeah, something like that, something to bring, I don't know, some sort of revenue in. But that's Bears talk today. We're talking Packers. Tyler, again, thanks for being on here. Let's kind of shift a little bit as to, you said earlier that Kyle really got you into football, and I'm sure you've been to a ton of Packers games. Have you? No. Okay, cool. So I'm assuming you've been to a Packers game. But do you have any like cool stories from like being at a game, meeting players, meeting other fans, anything like that? That in your experience as a Packers fan?
Yeah, and this is probably a 30-minute story, but I'm gonna try to make it 2. All right. My buddy is a Niners fan. He calls me on a Tuesday, and he's like, $250 tickets. I have points to get the flights. Just pay me for the ticket, and I'll take care of everything else. We're going to have to fly into Chicago and then drive up to Green Bay. Mm-hmm. I was there on Friday. Told my fiance at the time, I was like, hey, love you. I got to do this. And she was like, I totally understand. You got to do this. Like, go do it. So
she's so understanding. That's awesome.
I've been in Miami for 12 years now. I've been in Florida since I was 10 years old. I am not prepared for that kind of weather. So we get up there. The hotel story is hilarious. I literally had to pay a cousin of the front desk worker $100 to drive us up there because there was no Ubers in this town, because every hotel was $1,000 a night, and it was a 2-night minimum in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Jesus. So it was $2,000 for a Motel 6.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Insane.
Got to get the RV, man. That's the move.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, I was like freezing my butthole off. The only place that's heated in that stadium is the gigantic, massive mall of a gift shop. So I kept going down there and shopping my butt off. And when I talk about cold, the only thing that was visible was my eyes. I had a gator on. I had 5 layers on my top. The whole stands are covered, blanketed in snow.
Oh my God.
And that was that game where Devo went off, and dude, we went down and scored on the first drive, and I was like, oh, this is what I signed up for. This is what I came to see, is us getting to a Super Bowl. And it didn't work out, but it was really cool. Lost the game. Still so happy I got to go to a legendary stadium, probably the most legendary stadium that I used to drive by as a child. And now living in Miami, flew up there and literally drove through the country with a stranger, with an absolute someone who I've never met before, drove us 1 hour one way and had to pay him cash. And I was like, we'll give you another 100 for the ride back. Never got that ride back, by the way. Had to figure out, our Ubers were surging. It was like $250 to get 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm at the bar afterwards. There's a bar connected to the stadium. My head's low. You know, I'm not doing good. I'm hungover from the night before, still kind of drunk. And I'm eating and like I said, I had one buddy, he invited another Niners fan. So it was me and two Niners. We're at the bar. And this massive gentleman, 6'7", comes up to us and he goes to my buddies. He goes, "Hey guys, good game." Shakes their hand. And then we chop it up, whatever. It's a 5-minute conversation. He goes, "Yeah, I used to play for the organization back in the 80s. I was like,
wow.
This is an ex-Packer just hanging out at the bar, you know, and we're just hanging out, talking, whatever. And I'm like, again, I couldn't be more defeated. Like, I didn't know his name. And I was just like ghost-faced.
Yeah.
He leaves. We say our goodbyes. We go to close out. Dude, we ordered burgers and beers and shots. It must have been a $200 tab.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, "Your tab was taken care of by that gentleman who went and said hello to you." And that to me is the epitome of Packers football. That's why I'm a huge Packers fan. That's why I will always be a Packers fan. That's why if I have kids, Packers fan, my dog's a Packers fan. That's why. It's because of the kindness, because of the people who surround it. It's like, yeah, we don't get everything right, but like at least we are nice people at the end of the day. Not all of them, you know. I'm sure you've seen some guys with no shirt on and overalls. You know that guy, no shirt, overalls, green overall, Packers overalls, double fisting, probably getting beat up. Wait, what game was that where the guy got thrown down the stairs? Was that a Bears game?
Yeah, he got flipped over. Yeah,
that guy we don't represent. But the guys who played for the organization, the guys that actually like, you know, make us who we are, that was probably the highlight of that trip. You know, all the adventures we went through, flying into Chicago, driving up, all of that just to get there. But even after a losing game, that was the coolest part of that trip for sure.
When I heard about all that stuff that is taken off with Brett Favre and Pat McAfee, I actually felt bad for the fans because I just knew there's just so many just innocent, nice people that liked Brett Favre that were just so let down by the discovery. Like, no, not Brett Favre. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you have to reevaluate, you know, the pedestal that so many households had Brett Favre in that city. What do you make of that as far as like his legacy? I don't know if you know all the details. I personally don't. I just know it had something to do with taking money from like low income families in Mississippi type deal. To build like a soccer arena or something for his daughter.
It was volleyball. It was volleyball for his daughter's team, and they said they took it from some sort of government spending, and there was a text thread between him and somebody behind government, local government, that's saying like, "Let's get this done."
Oh, okay.
The thing about Brett Favre is like he's kind of always been like wishy-washy with his, you know, antics off the field. It's just he's a white dude from Mississippi and he's Brett Favre, so it gets thrown under the table. Like he had the whole like sexual assault thing. He had, you know, there's been multiple things.
Really?
Like,
Florida State cheerleader.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, he had a sexual assault thing. I think it was like late Green Bay, early Vikings. It was later in his career for sure. He had a sexual assault thing, and then of course like he has this like triumphant story where his dad passes away and he comes and, you know, throws touchdown passes. So we forgot about that. But now it's an Instagram era. Like now our technology is fast forward 10 years later. And now everybody remembers everything you ever did. And, you know, I don't know. I've never like thought, I've never put Brett Favre like as a person up here, you know, versus him as a football player. He was a gunslinger, one of the nastiest dudes. It's so funny how similar styles of game that Favre and Aaron Rodgers actually played. Well, they're just willing to take those chances. You know, they don't care about their QBR. They just want to make the throw. Yeah, which was cool.
They want to win.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was cool to just see a dude like, you know, you're taught to like keep the ball right here, but these guys would just drop back and just launch the thing. You know. Yeah, I don't know. Brett Favre as a person versus the football player is kind of two different conversations for me, and I don't think, you know, I'm a huge fan of Wrangler jeans, so
the commercial
that's real.
I was I
comfortable.
was I was thinking the same thing of like God, who was it? Like how you separate the person from like what he's known for, right? Like for
Yeah,
example, like this is probably going to be super unpopular, but Kanye West. Like I love Kanye West. I love his music.
of
I love
course.
his fashion. I love all the shit. But all the shit he's been doing this last few years, I'm kind of like, okay, dude, it's kind of getting hard to defend
Chicago.
you now. Yeah, it's kind of getting really difficult to defend like an anti-Semite. So I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna still listen to College Dropout.
Damn, and you're a Chicago boy.
But I'm yeah, I know, I know. I love it. I love it.
Dude,
It's tough sometimes.
ask Kyle. I was the biggest Kanye fan. Biggest Kanye fan.
Through the
And
wire.
I
Through the
owned all
wire.
of those CDs. Through the Wire, biggest hit, and I cannot
Can't tell me
stand
nothing.
him. I found it's
Yeah.
so weird. It's so funny that you're saying this because the other day,
Mm-hmm.
for the first time, like in music, like I heard Stronger
Mm-hmm.
and I skipped it. And I was like,
Really?
God, I
Yeah.
just don't. Obviously, it's an old song, wasn't in the mood for it, whatever. Great
Yeah.
song, but I
Mhm.
was just like, man, like like I remembered who he is
Mhm.
immediately, and
Yeah.
obviously, like music and football is different. Like you're gonna hear his songs all the time,
Mhm.
everywhere, forever, movies, commercials, etc. But like, you're not gonna just like pop in and throughout your day see Brett Favre throw a fucking out route, like. You
Every
know?
once in a while, just
Dude, yeah, imagine you have little screens around your house. You're just like,
Hey Siri, show me a touchdown pass to Donald Driver.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Show me a touchdown pass.
hey, there it is. There it is.
There it is. Not even. I can't find that. She said, "Hold on."
She's like, which one?
Yeah, out of the hundreds, right?
Oh God, that's good. That is good stuff. So, you said that you don't expect Jordan Love to become what Brett Favre has, but as far as the community surrounding him, uplifting him, how do you think he's going to be received when he runs out of the tunnel September 12th or whatever day it is on that Week 1 game? Probably Packers like to open up at home more than often because it's a really hot location. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be?
Like I said, dude, we're a dope fandom. We're I would like to think that it's gonna be love.
Love for love.
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 But you know what I mean? Like it's I think they're gonna be it's not no one's gonna be booing him,
Mhm.
it's all we got right now, like thank God we have two amazing running backs. That's all I can say about that. And I'm going to see a lot of dump off passes, probably incompleted. And honestly, I've just like kind of like accepted the fact that we're going to suck. Okay. And we've been, no offense, but we've been like on top of the division for a long time where it was like, where honestly, like my view as a Packer fan was like, all right, division's over. Who's next? And I know that's like spoiled. I know it's, it's not right.
Mhm.
And you got to remember, I've been in Miami now 12 years and I hang out with a lot of Dolphins fans. I went to the Christmas game, the Dolphins Packers game. That game
How was that?
Yeah.
fucking awesome,
Really?
dude. It was so sick. All my friends talking all that shit. We're not having a good season. Tua was like on the up and up for a minute, and then he got hurt, and then he's back, and Tua was questionable, and like, dude, just tailgating with a bunch of Dolphins fans that are just like know that they're gonna suck all the time forever, but they had a little bit of light, and I was just eating humble pie the whole time. I was just like, we'll see, we'll see what happens. But it was fun. It was cool to squeak out of there with a win. But yeah, man, who fucking knows?
I remember that game because it was one, because everything me and Rick do now is recorded, so we always do our division or it wasn't division, our weekly predictions.
Yeah.
And I remember picking the Dolphins, and it was not popular. It was like, what are you doing? And I was like, look, it's
what an idiot.
It was like Christmas. It was Christmas, and I was like, look, Aaron Rodgers, he's got his back against the wall. He's got to He's got to win a couple in a row here, and you know, I good weather, Miami,
good.
Christmas,
California boy.
why not?
Yeah,
You know what I
weird.
mean? Why not? Why not? Packers go out there and make a statement, and man, it was actually. I think their defense won that game. I mean, that was probably the most complete football game the Packers played all year.
Dude, it was
besides
so
the Vikings.
cool to watch. It was so cool to watch, man. I mean, obviously, I was with Dad, I was with my wife, and we just had a blast. And you know, in like Hispanic culture, they don't celebrate Christmas, and everybody down here in Miami is Hispanic, so they all partied the night before, Noche Buena. So Christmas Day, everybody's just like, nobody's opening presents. What are we doing today? So in Miami, that atmosphere was so cool. And again, I mean, it was, and mind you, in Miami, it was like 40 degrees. So for us, that's fucking frigid. Dude, we had hoodies on, we had winter jackets on, all the girls had their Uggs on.
Oh my God.
Dude, it's so cold there.
It was so cold. It was so cold. But it was so fun.
That must have been like record almost. I've never
I
seen
know.
that.
Yeah, it was 40 something degrees.
Yeah, and Florida cold's like wearing a wet blanket. It's like you're just like, why is this chill in my bones? When Jordan Love played I think he came in for Aaron Rodgers in the second half from a rib injury, Sunday Night Football against the Eagles.
You think, or that sounds very specific?
Yeah, that was
no.
I didn't know that. You know that.
I don't remember the injury.
It was like 101 that day.
I don't
ate a kale salad for lunch.
Tomatoes.
Whatever. Can't really remember.
Getting off a protein shake.
No, I don't remember the injury, but whatever it was, I think it was a rib injury. Yeah,
it was a rib injury.
So Jordan Love comes in and he looked really good, but I think there's a lot kind of hanging on that sample size. Like, one, we saw Jordan Love play before that, and it wasn't great. He played during the COVID suspension against the Chiefs last year, and I think they didn't even score a touchdown that game. I think they got like 6 points the whole game, and Chiefs haven't been known for their defense in recent years. So he came out and he threw some good balls. His timing was really good. He was hitting receivers in stride. The moment wasn't too big, and this was Sunday Night Football. It was on the road. There was a lot to like, but at the end of the day, it was a small sample size. And there's actually a iconic picture that was taken after that game, and I think it was turned into what do they do? They turn these pictures into it's like a stock type thing. What's it called?
Oh yeah, stock.
NFTs.
NFT. They turned it into NFT. It was Hurts, Jalen Hurts, and Jordan Love standing next to each other, and it said "Love Hurts."
That's nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, super dope,
dude. If I was those two, I would have each other's jerseys like
right next to each other,
framed up on a wall next to my pool table, and they gotta trade jerseys at some point just for that reason.
They got a jersey swap.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah. They will. I'm sure they will.
They definitely will. And you mentioned earlier, right? Like Watson, the kind of emergence of him later in the season, second half of the season, really, right? With Jordan Love taking over the reins of starting QB, like from what Kyle said, you know, you saw that little sample size of him, and it looked good. Do you think with like a Watson being there, with maybe I don't know, Lazard already signed with the Jets, so you can get rid of him, but with the two running backs there and Watson there kind of solidifying those weapons on the offense, do you think Love can make something happen, can take that small sample size and turn it into like a solid year? I'm not saying anything crazy like 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4,000 yards, but like, can he do something manageable where like the exit of Aaron Rodgers doesn't hurt as bad? Do you think that's kind of what's in store with him with what he has there?
No, absolutely not. No.
He said no.
I totally disagree.
Kyle, again, do you know the stat? Do you know if we were winning that game? Do you know like the score when he came in? By any chance, can we look that up at all?
It was like 14 to. Well, they were going back and forth. It was probably like 28 to, it was probably like 31 to 21.
Okay. So if you have a comfortable 10-point lead and you've been practicing under Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, and you just got to go in and, like I said, throw some good out routes. If you're like anybody, like for me, I learned by watching people. You know, I've always, like, in my career, I've always like saw other people working and tried to like take that and make it a part of my game. Like
31-21 Eagles 10-point lead.
So they were winning.
The Eagles were winning.
Oh, okay. So that's even more interesting. That gives me hope. You know, so the kid went out.
There you
Honestly,
go.
though, that does. Like,
Yeah.
I thought, like, in this situation, for some reason, I thought that we were winning, right? And so he has to just go out there and just, like, get the job done. Versus now, he's coming out there hungry, trying to win a game for the Packers.
Yeah.
Against a Super Bowl contending team. You know, that's awesome. Like, that gives me a little bit of hope. I'm not going to totally write the kid off. Like, I just haven't seen anything. I'm not going to be one of these guys that's just like, oh, he's the next fucking best thing. You know, let's see. I'll watch preseason football. You know, I don't care. I just want to see this kid throw.
You know that song, it's like 10% luck, 20% skill, 30% power of will.
15%.
I'm like sure by the end of that song we're
pressure,
over 100%. We have to be over 100.
And 100% reason to remember the name.
Yeah.
So we're like 220% there.
I don't think that the percent that
Linkin Park.
Aaron
look that up.
Rodgers.
Hey,
We'll get our guys look
You
that
guys
up.
need a producer.
Yeah.
You guys need someone that's looking up stats for you all at all times.
Yeah.
Rogan style, right?
Yeah.
Or
There
any
was-
podcast ever style.
There was one last week where he was like in a cloak in a dark room and he's like, Jamie, look up pizzas. There is
Oh, I
something
love
weird.
that. Dude, I loved that one.
And I'm just
you
like,
can tell those
dude,
guys are on shrooms or something.
so
Oh, yeah.
bad.
Dude,
Oh,
that comedian on the other side was hilarious.
He's like, yeah.
They were
dude.
they had such a good relationship going, like their banter. Like they were just kind of opposite guys, but it was working. That was so funny with all the candles lit and shit.
Yeah, God. But I think this is something I've told Rick a lot, is that the whole handoff, you know, passing the torch from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it's as big coincidence that they were both really good. And I use the example of when Tom Brady got hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo came in and did well enough to get a job. He's still a starting quarterback now, going to be with the Raiders. You look at the time he got hurt before that, and Matt Castle went and got a job with the Chiefs. You look at
Garoppolo is so handsome.
That's just facts. That's just facts.
Good-looking guy.
Incredible.
I'm more of a Kirk
Incredible.
Cousins guy.
No, it's if
Oh
Kyle,
no!
if Kyle was a 10, he would be Jimmy Garoppolo. Like similar features. Kyle's like a Jimmy Garoppolo 7.
I'm like a poor man's
Dude,
A poor man's Jimmy, porn star Jimmy.
he's so handsome.
Yeah, I mean, he's
I would let him
taller,
have me.
darker. Anyway,
Football
so
I want him on my team.
so let me complete this thought. So I do think that when you play above or when you're underneath somebody that plays at such a high level, there's almost a subconscious adoption of the practice habits, the way they throw, the way they read. And that's why, let's talk about that. How long was Aaron Rodgers under Brett Favre? 4 years? That's enough time to really get to understand the way a person operates. All these guys that stepped in and did a good job, they weren't rookies. They stepped in after being underneath these Tom Brady type quarterbacks for 3-4 years. And it was like, hey, they didn't miss a beat. Look at the divisional round of the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, and they have to start a drive on their own 1-yard line. And who came in and led the 99-yard touchdown drive? The backup quarterback for the Chiefs,
Chad Henne.
And it's like, is Chad Henne all of a sudden this GOAT? Well, he's been behind Mahomes now for a couple years, so kind of. So
He's also a vet, right? He's older than Mahomes.
He's also a vet, but I just think there's this kind of confidence when you're around winning all the time that it just becomes a part of you. Winning is contagious. So I do think Jordan Love being behind Aaron Rodgers for the amount of time, I think if they would have, like, look, when he came in for the Chiefs, he was only 2 years. It wasn't enough time. I think they waited the right amount of time They threw him in the Philly game, and they said, it's time. We've
Mm-hmm.
hit that point where we can, I'm not saying there won't be growing pains, but we can transition to another version of what we have here. And I don't think people should be totally shocked if it works out. There's just something to be said about being underneath the leadership of winning people. And it's very powerful. And I don't think it's measured at a respectable amount when we're talking about passing torches in general. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of hit on that, where Rodgers was under Favre for X amount of years, and now you're getting the same thing with Love. I don't know what's going to happen. I think for anybody in the front office or GM, you know, in the GM role, to see a drive or two on Sunday Night Football when Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, I don't think it's the right thing to do to just go, okay, he's got it. You know? But at the same time, as a fan, you get excited. You know, I literally remember being at Mike's when that was happening and going, we got this.
The
like,
confidence, I love it.
Aaron Rodgers can leave tomorrow. We'll be fine. but that was like 2 pitchers deep, you know?
Yeah.
But if I'm saying honestly, I don't know. And yeah, like I said, that's how I learned. I don't know if Jordan Love learns the same way, but I'd like to think so. You know, when in regards to what you were saying about the Chiefs, I mean, Chad Henne, he has to come in and just at that point, that offense is so dialed, and every lineman and every running back where he is a role player at that point. He has to just make the 10-yard throw. He has to make the seam down the middle. He has to hand the ball off. You know, so I wasn't like shocked by that performance either. You know, that guy's been in the league for a long time, and he knows what to do. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We all keep coming back to we'll see. Every single conversation we have is we'll see.
That sounds like me the last 20 plus years as a Bears fan. We'll see. I
Uh,
don't know. Trubisky might work out. I don't know. We'll see.
And I'm the newest member to that club. I don't know what that feels like. But again, it's been easy living and being good friends with a lot of Dolphins fans. So now I'm just like a football fan, you know. Otherwise, I start every season going, we got a shot.
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
Yeah.
you know, every single time we start a season, like for the last, I don't know, 8 years, like we got a shot, you know?
So now that kind of that there's like a bit of a shift now, right? With the NFC North, where it's not, like you said, as a Packers fan, you're not 100% as confident as you were before with Aaron Rodgers, you know, under center. Now you're looking at what the Vikings did last year. And yeah, sure, you know, their offense wasn't amazing because they were still negative point differential somehow with 13 wins, and their defense was garbage. But you look at Detroit now, the emergence of Detroit with Dan Campbell, even with Jared Goff and all the weapons they have there.
Is it garbage?
What?
It was garbage?
Did you say Detroit garbage? And then obviously, you know, my Bears with Justin Fields, the additions they've made this offseason.
Wasn't he like the biggest rusher all year?
Who?
Fields?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
your
He was like I think top.
Didn't he break a record or
6
something?
or 7 in rushing yards last year, and he broke a record I think for either the longest run by a quarterback or the most rushing yards in a game by a quarterback.
I think it was most rushing yards in a game.
Yeah, I think it was like 168 yards or something like that against. I think it was against the Dolphins too.
And this is in the Lamar Jackson era.
Yeah,
which is crazy to think.
That's who he passed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he passed Michael Vick. He almost passed Lamar Jackson for most rushing yards in a season. Yeah. But you know, with all these, you know, just like I feel like the North is still somewhat up for grabs, and it's almost like favorited by the Lions now. Who do you think is going to win the North? I mean, you're a Packers fan. I had the Packers last year, and you could ask Kyle. Even in our preseason predictions, I was like, Aaron Rodgers, no matter what, is still going to come in, be Aaron Rodgers, and win the division. I 100% had the Packers. I think I had the Vikings second, then the Bears and the Lions. Obviously, that was all completely fucked. But
Mhm.
what are you thinking now as far as the North?
I mean, obviously, you can't bet against the Vikings.
Damn right, Fight Queens.
And obviously, breaking news, put that on the little thing. Adam Thielen got traded today.
He did.
He's a Panther.
Yeah.
That's
3 years.
massive.
3 years. Yeah.
That's massive, dude. That is a guy that is consistent, just plays ball, doesn't drop a ball.
Mm.
You know,
I don't think his value though was up to where it's been the last couple of years, and I think the Vikings were like, we're gonna move on, but Thielen's like, I'm gonna go into a new chapter. He's not done, but the Vikings are done.
Who's their quarterback right now?
Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, but you got to also remember Justin Jefferson's there now. It's like not the same old Vikings.
No, I meant the Panthers. Sorry.
Oh, the Panthers are gonna draft.
They're gonna draft either CJ Stroud, Bryce Young.
Not so, dude. That kid CJ. What a combine.
Yeah, Richardson too.
Yeah.
I saw Kyle's little piece on it. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
What an athlete.
Yeah.
It's so weird, man, how the game of football is it's just going to keep going and going and going this way. It's not going to stop. And I've kind of known that since watching Vic and like weirdly, like, of course, Packers fan, but like seeing guys like Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees when he was young Drew Brees ran. And dude, you have to have that like ace in your back pocket. You have to have that guy that could just like look at fucking Josh Allen. Dude, big, bulky, freaking just throws his body over the first dude, just gets spinned in 1,000 directions and goes like, they tell me not to run the ball, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
And
he's like cross-eyed,
knocks people over, gets touchdowns.
Dude,
like it is what it is.
And dude, every interview is so funny. Like when they hit him at halftime or at the end of the game, they're like, what did you think about being somersaulted 7 times in the air? And he was like, I just want to win the game. I just want to play football. He's not even country. I don't know why I'm putting that.
I think he is though. He's from Wyoming, so he's
he's a little
It's
country.
not southern. It's not
He's
southern.
not southern country. He's like cowboy country.
I'm just giving him that. He deserves it, dude. He's a dork. But that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see as fans. You know, I not for nothing. I hate to fucking diss Peyton Manning, but dude had a laser rocket arm. Was a, like I said, chess player. When you would talk about offensive linemen and getting people to jump offside. Same with Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers, probably the greatest ever 12 person on the field play caller ever. Snaps the ball real quick, chunks one down the field. We get 60 yards, you know?
I hate
That's
that
great.
every time.
That's great. It's so
Every
dumb,
time.
dude. It's so dumb. I got bored of watching it. I'm like, how stupid are you? This doesn't happen to any other team.
hate you. I absolutely hate you for that. I got bored of watching him throw touchdowns on
Dude,
false
but
starts.
I literally started thinking, like, I should be a defensive coordinator. Like, I should literally get up and be like, hey, instead of, like, hobbling your ass off the field, run, bitch. Like, it's the same dude. It's like the camera zooms in, and they're like, oh, there's a foot on the field. And Aaron Rodgers is like, I saw his foot go.
Hike, motherfucker, hike.
And then he's just like, fucking sending it, dude.
Green 18 nut.
Yeah.
Real quick,
60-yard touchdown.
we got 5.5 minutes left. So Matt LaFleur, what do you
Love
think?
him.
Yeah.
Love
He's
him?
awesome.
Yeah, everything.
He's awesome.
Okay. I think some people are torn on him. He's either a really great coach or Aaron Rodgers is a really great quarterback. Yeah.
No,
when you
dude.
hear people talk about the Andy Reids, the Bill Belichick's, the Sean Paytons, Matt LaFleur is not quite there yet. But
Not even close.
yeah, but some people are like, hey man, you go to the NFC Championship 2 years in a row. I mean, you're consistently winning. I think he was the first Packer coach to ever win 13 games in his first 2 seasons. So there's a lot to like there. But yeah, some people are really high on him. So I just wanted to kind of feel where you were at with that. And then I had one more question.
Yeah, I love the culture that he creates, where he is that mix of what we need in a little like young juice, a little young energy. Like I like that about LaFleur. Like he's, you know, he tried. I saw him trying. I physically watched his emotions in his eyes, like trying to give Aaron control and wanting to do so much to give Aaron, to make him happy. You could see it, and they would go off on the field together and they would be fucking angry at each other. And then they would talk about it later, how, we got over it. That's cool. That's man shit. Like, that's like, we squashed it versus like, I don't know. Who are you comparing to Belichick, dude? Like, Belichick is, to me, just so highly regarded and it's not talked about enough in football how good he was when he was good. And that's why I hate the fucking Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time conversation. I am such an anti that. I would never put him as if I had a perfect all-star team of quarterbacks, I would not put him. Never. Don't like him. No. He's not athletic enough. Again, it depends on the time.
Yeah.
Same with the GOAT conversation in basketball. It's decades. It's about how the game evolves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would go, who was the best in this 10 years? Who was the best in this 10 years? Who was the best in this 10 years? The game changes. The rules literally change. So you can't say who's the greatest then when there was no 3-point lines versus Steph Curry right now is chunking it from half court and makes everything.
Yeah.
So it's one of those conversations.
Your
All right,
opponent.
I went off there.
No. You're totally good. I'll just ask
No,
this
you're
real
good, yeah.
quick, and then I'll give it back to Rick. So, your opponents this year, not including the NFC North, you got the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Rams, the Saints, the Bucks, the Falcons, Panthers, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Giants, and Steelers. Not a hard schedule, but not super not easy either. Well, you got.
Did you hear the first name you said?
The Chiefs.
That right there.
Is that week 1?
You got the AFC West, which is tough, but then you also have the NFC South, which balances it out because the Saints and the Bucks and the Falcons and the Panthers are kind of all.
I think Derek Carr. Here's my hot take. I think Derek Carr is going to do really well in New Orleans.
I can see that.
I think so too. When he got signed by the Saints, I was like, the Saints are winning. Saints are winning the
Hang on.
the
Here's my
NFC
hot
South.
take. Hang on. Here's my hard take.
Hard hat for the hard take. I love it.
Hard take.
We gotta
Derek
start
Carr.
that.
Derek Carr does really well. Derek Carr does really well this year.
I love
Hard
it.
take.
I love it.
We're starting that.
You heard it here first, folks. All right. Well, we're about to wrap up here, Tyler. Again,
Is it 'cause
thanks
of
for
my hat?
coming on. Yeah. What's that?
Is it because of my hat?
100%. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. But again, we
I
appreciate
think
you
Jordan
coming
Love's
on
gonna be
here.
good.
I wish I had my helmet, Kyle. I wish I had my helmet. We'd all have like a hard hat on. It'd be awesome. But again, thanks for coming on. We had to dive into the Aaron Rodgers stuff first. Get into Jordan Love and all the other weapons. But thank you for coming on, talking Packers, even with the Bears fan. And I'm sorry for jinxing the Week 18 loss against the Lions. Jesus. I know you were in the chat going like, "Get him out of here."
Dude, it was going so well. It was going so well.
It was, and I kind of apologize, but also I loved it. It was my Super Bowl technically, so I'm gonna take that as a dub for myself as a Bears fan. But again, Tyler, thank you for coming on. Appreciate coming on for the interview and stuff, and for everyone listening and watching. Right up here, we got our little support QR code, and if not, the link is going to be in the description. But if you guys want to help us out, Tyler's pointing.
Send us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, send us to the Super Bowl. Send us to Vegas. Let's go. It's going to be in the description. Watch and hit the QR code, and help Kyle and I get to the Super Bowl. And maybe we can also get a dinner paid by an ex-Packers like Tyler.
Dude, maybe someday.
Did before. But all right.
Maybe even
thank you
Henry
guys so
Ruggs.
much for having me, man. It was a blast. You guys do a really great job here. And I watch you guys on my laptop on Sundays with the TV on. And it's not just because my little brother's talking. I really appreciate what you guys do. So dope.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. We appreciate
All love.
that. All love. But all right, from Tyler, from Kyle,
Don't do that.
from myself.
You look ridiculous.
I
I
don't know what to do
literally
with my
just watched you go.
It's weird because you're so big that I almost feel like I'm not on camera. So this is
Here,
just like
I'll put you on camera.
how naturally weird. No, now I know.
Look, me
Now
and
I
Rick are gonna start our own show. It's gonna be called Packers Bears,
know.
and we're gonna ask hard-hitting questions.
Yep. Hard hats on all the time. But all right, from myself, from Kyle, from Tyler, this was the first of many interviews of our episodic series here on Only Football called Interview 32. Peace sign.
See ya.
But all right, Tyler, again, thank you for coming on. And Kyle, see ya!
See ya.